Good morning and welcome to the DFS YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. We are going to take a look at some pitching for today. It is Saturday, the 4th of May. Can't wait for all the jokes to come out about Star Wars. We have a couple slates to take a look at here. We have a 7-game day slate and can't remember the evening slate numbers. Just a 2-game main slate. Some really spread out games it looks like, huh? Or the 6-game main slate. 6-game main slate. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong one. DraftKings had the 2-gamer as a featured slate, but that doesn't make any sense. Couple things. We're going to take a look at the pitching. It is a first look as I just am getting my day started. And I will primarily be looking at DraftKings since that's where a majority of my play is. On FanDuel, we don't have to get as creative. You can usually take the top handful of guys and mix and match those with lineups just because pricing isn't as tight overall in regards to getting our stacks to fit. So, with all that being said, let's take a look at the early 7-gamer. We do have some weather issues potentially with the Pittsburgh game and the Toronto game. Which is a little frustrating because Jaron Jones is going to be one of the favorite plays on this early slate as long as the weather cooperates. K-prop of 7.5. He is a minus 205 favorite as well. Game total of just 7.5 in this one. Kind of came back down to earth last start, but the big thing that I know with Jones is that his swinging strike rate has been phenomenal all season. Came back down to earth last game, but extra day of rest against a weak Colorado squad, legitimately worth the price tag for sure. It's just a big shocker to see him climb all the way up to 9,300. He didn't start out as cheap as some of the young guys do. So DraftKings did a pretty good job of initially pricing him. So while it is a little shocking to see him as the highest priced pitcher, over a guy like Pablo Lopez and Gausman, who have been top 3 Cy Young guys over the last couple of years, he is certainly the chalk as long as the weather cooperates. Pablo Lopez hasn't been overly sharp, but still decent. Second best start of the year came against an elite Baltimore offense, so Boston isn't going to scare me all that much. He's a minus 175 favorite. Game total just 7.5. Does have a K prop of 7.5 as well. Juice is on the under, but I think he's a very, very viable SP1 on this slate. I will try to have some builds that have Jones and Lopez together. Obviously, that is expensive, but I just don't think as many people are going to go that route. So why not go where other people are not? Is a good way to look at DFS baseball. Gausman, I think he's rounding back into form. His K numbers just aren't there yet, though. And this Washington team isn't a huge K team, especially as Joey Gallo has basically been benched. But he is throwing the ball better. So I do have to have some interest in him. Weather, again, questionable. K-prop of just 4.5. It's insane to see. Juice is very firmly on the over, but he is a minus 162 favorite. I think Gausman is certainly an option. I think he's going to kind of right the ship from a strikeout standpoint as well. Missed most of spring training, so I think that might have something to do with the way that he's been throwing the baseball. So I do expect him to kind of turn it up a little bit. Clark Schmidt, definitely somebody I'm interested in. Seems like he has a bit of a cap ceiling, which is something that I don't love. He is a minus 162 favorite. Game total of just 7.5 as well. So we do have some low total games. Not that that makes up makes our mind up a ton in pitching. It just does help a little bit. K prop of 6.5, but juice is on the under. And to me, it would make sense. He just has two starts of his six where he's gone over 6.5 strikeouts, and each of those was just getting to seven. Need him to avoid some of these walks that do creep up, but I'm definitely interested in Clark Schmidt. Um, in general, I'd trust him more than Lance Lynn. Here's the issue: Lance Lynn gets to face the White Sox, so we do kind of have to boost Lance Lynn a little bit. K prop is 5.5. Juice is on the under though. Does have walk issues as well, so there's worry. He is a minus 180 favorite, however. Uh, so I feel like he's going to be pretty popular at SP2 on the slate. Going down, just a couple other names that I'm really considering uh, on this day slate. Eric Fetty, even though I don't really want to. Hard to ignore the way he's been throwing the baseball. Might be the last pitcher to. I guess Minnesota won that game. He did dominate against the Twins. Twins are on an 11 or 12 game win streak right now. So, but Fetty, 20 strikeouts over his last 14 and a third innings. Just 10 hits allowed. Like I did mention, the White Sox are an underdog in this game. Fetty's K prop just 4.5, but chooses strongly on the over. So I'm going to consider him. I am definitely going to stack against him as well, even though the St. Louis offense hasn't been overly exciting. Um, he's just one that I just don't think continues this run all that long. Um, but in that same thinking, it doesn't mean that his run is just going to come to an end right now. It could be a gradual return to the mean for him, but I think he's viable enough on this slate because honestly, I think we could get something similar from him as we do get from like Schmidt and Lance Lynn. Uh, so if we get similar returns, that 900 becomes important for us, our bets. Generally I don't talk about saving money at pitching, but if we can match returns from guys that are going to be chalkier, then I'm definitely interested, and that's kind of why I'm interested in Fetty. Two other names I've been kicking around, but I don't think I'm going to end up on Trevor Rogers, even though I like picking on Oakland. I just don't really like his trends. And surprisingly, I don't mind Oakland bats against left-handed pitching. So that brings me to Paul Blackburn. A couple of rough starts in a row, but that was on the road against the Yankees and Orioles. Um, kind of spots that we would expect him to struggle. But prior to that, he did not really struggle. So uh, I don't mind picking on Miami. They just traded Luis Ariz, their best contact guy. Um, K prop of 5.5. Juices on the under, but he is a minus 125 favorite. Game total just 7.5. So I think Paul Blackburn, if one of these two guys isn't the most popular SB2, then I think it's going to be all the way down to Blackburn. My first look lineup did have Blackburn as the SB2, pairing him with Jared Jones, but obviously weather could remove that game from my options. We're going to take a look here quick at the sixth gamer, which I still don't understand why the other one is the featured, but whatever. Well, this is my legitimate first look at this slate, so let's take a look at the pitching. Glasnow at the top. I will be using him against Atlanta just because he has such high strikeout upside. Uh, and we have seen Atlanta strike out a little bit of late. So I think going into last night, Acuna had struck out like 14 times over the last six games. There are Ks. It's a dangerous matchup. Not that I want to go super heavy on Glasnow, but he's somebody that I am going to be playing. Should look at his K prop quick. K prop is 7.5. Juice on the over. So Vegas is expecting some strikeouts as well. Logan Gilbert, K prop of 5.5, juice slightly on the under. Been really good the last four starts and five of his six on the season. Have to look into his career against Houston. You know, we generally don't want to pick on Houston with pitching, but Houston has had some struggles this year. So I think Gilbert's going to be a viable option on the slate. Zach Littell, um, I don't think I'm going to go this route. I haven't minded picking on the Mets offense. The issue is that they aren't a big strikeout team. Littell's K prop at 4.5. I'm going to take a look at the Vegas line real quick. It's a minus 115 favorite, so very close to a pick 'em at this point. I don't think we need to go there, but since it is a 6 game slate, maybe he does make the pool. Framber Valdez, excuse me, looked decent in his return. I like his upside against the Seattle squad. Seattle does offer plenty of strikeout upside. Valdez is a minus 142 favorite. K prop of 6.5, juice slightly on the under. But, you know, Vegas kind of has it at a line above his season high, which a lot of times I wouldn't be a fan of, but we do know that, you know, Valdez does have K upside. Um, you kind of would expect him to increase, you know, 85 to 90 pitches in this one. So we should be pretty solid. I love the price point, 7,800 for somebody like Valdez. Very strong. And he's somebody that I highly recommend using on FanDuel a lot because of his ability to rack up quality starts. Brandon Pfaadt coming off an 11K performance against Seattle, the aforementioned Seattle strikeout offense. K prop of just 4.5 in this one. He is a minus 130 favorite. I do think I have a little bit of interest in Pfaadt, but he kind of falls into the Littell range. Uh, Both guys probably going to end up in my pool, you know, based on looking at this slate here. Um, I would say Littell probably has a little bit more upside in his matchup, but it's close. Dane Dunning coming off of a 10K performance as well, so we do have some guys coming in off of, you know, season probably or starts that are likely to end up their season high at the end of the year, to be honest. And those are guys that I don't really love playing because we do generally see a little bit of regression back in that second start. Dunning threw just 69 pitches in this start, so it is a little concerning. Um, but I think the matchup has enough upside for him. Kansas City is a dangerous offense. He's a slight favorite at minus 115. K prop is just 3.5. Juice on the over. Um, Man, 3.5 seems low. I'm gonna want to dig into that a little bit. I mean, juice is pretty strongly on the over, but that seems like a really low starting point. So I'm definitely interested. Excuse me. Uh, Another guy I'm really considering down here is Means, because I think there's some K upside in Cincinnati. Just have to dig into what Means' numbers were in the minors. So there we have it. There's the first look at pitching today. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our tools, sheets, optimizer, Discord, etc. I'll put links in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's RAZ, for 10% off. And as always, best of luck, everybody.